Testing one, two, three. Okay, cool. Guys, welcome back to another grill stream. I am actually trying something a little different today. I'm actually using a different phone um, for the stream, and oop, sorry, I think you know what? There's actually some feedback here. Let me fix this real quick. Sorry. You know what? There's actually some feedback here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I think we're okay now. Anyway, sorry about that. We're gonna do tacos al pastor today, which is a traditional, taco dish from sort of Latin America, sort of a South America. And the idea is um, we essentially use pineapple as one of the main marinades in this dish. So again, so there's like a lot of other stuff that sort of goes into it too. There's a lot of like dried peppers. There's a lot of onion, garlic, and whatnot. Um, but anyway, we are now outside, so let's just see if this camera is actually any better than what I've been using. Um, so I'm going to position you guys right here. Let's just see how that looks. I think that looks better than what it used to be. It's like the downside is the the like okay, um so StreamYard has like the free version is limited to 720p. Um and so that's pretty bad, right? But I figured if I use a newer phone, so this oh, so what I'm using is like an iPhone 16. It just came out, right? So again, I'm hoping that the picture here will be a little bit better. I'm going to position this like this for now. Okay, cool. Um, and I'm just going to check the stream on my phone too, just to make sure that it looks okay as well. That looks okay, actually. So anyway, cool. Well, um, you'll get sort of sorry for this, for the stream, like changing times a lot today. The weather was a little bit bad this morning, and I just didn't want to get like rained on during the stream. So I'm going to push it out a little bit, and now we're live. Um, so anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. I don't normally show sort of like me starting the fire here, but I do just want to kind of go over what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be using the rotisserie here. So the idea is we use this doodad right here, and I'm gonna kind of position that right there. Um, so this will rotate. And now again, sort of traditionally, when we do this, or when you do sort of tacos al pastor, it will actually be vertical, like this. But there's no way to really do that here on my grill, or or really sort of any other grill that I have. But again, so we're going to do it sort of horizontally today. And it's like the idea is as soon as like the pork kind of gets, crispy and sort of cooked well, um, I will kind of like take this off, like shave some off, keep it hot, and then I'll actually just kind of like you sort of keep on putting it back on so that the inner part of the pork, gets crispy too. Um, so with that, the first thing we need to do actually is we need to kind of determine where we want this sort of like again some like you do want sort of your sort of skewers here to be sort of centered with the fire. So we haven't actually put any sort of charcoal in here yet, but again, this is maybe a little too close to the center than what I like. So I'm gonna kind of loosen this up a bit. And I'm going to put this back into this. You know what? I think I should put this upside down. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Um, so we will have quite a bit here. Like there's at least maybe 3 pounds worth of pork. So I think right about there is actually pretty good. Plus, there's going to be a bit of pineapple on either end, so I think that'll work out nicely. So now that we know where we want to sort of place everything, and making sure that everything is centered, let's go ahead and start the fire. I don't normally actually show this process, just because it takes so long usually to actually get the fire going, right? Um, so that's really like the only downside of sort of owning one of these types of grills, or like a big green egg, or sort of even sort of any sort of type of charcoal grill. Charcoal does take a while to get hot, and sort of going, right. Uh, so, but there is a process that we're going to be doing that does take a little bit of time before we even get started. So I figure, well, I can get the fire going, and then we'll kind of start to put the meat here on the skewer. So, or the spit, I guess technically. But I'm going to leave you guys here real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in some lump charcoal to get the fire going. And I'll also start, or I'll sort of show you how I start a fire. I'm in one of these too. Let me go inside real quick to get my torch, and then I'll be right back. All right, I got the torch. So this is a benzomatic, um, and the actual torch itself is the TS 4000 model. Very good quality, sort of built well. And this is what I use to get the fire started. But before we play with fire, let's go ahead and actually get some charcoal into. Uh, but first, let's just do a quick sort of wash check. I'm wearing the, whoops, I'm wearing a new Tudor Coke here, the GMT. This fits my wrist very well, and like I'm really happy with it so far. So um, anyway, let's. I think I'll actually go ahead and take this off, just because I don't want to kind of rough it up out here too much. Some might say, "Oh, you're trying to baby it." Well, um, I mean, it's still new, and I would like to try to keep it is sort of new, and as being sort of come along, then they'll come along naturally, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and I'm going to put on my gloves here. I think it's actually easier just to kind of hand pick the this sort of lump charcoal that you want from the bag. Um, I mean, I might like pour out just a little bit first, but then I'm gonna basically rearrange things. So yeah, I mean a lot of little pieces. So I'm gonna scoot these around a bit. Also, sorry if you can hear there's sort of planes in the background. I'm about 30 minutes away from the Nashville airport. Doxed. But I um, but when they take off and they go in a northward sort of direction, they actually fly directly over my house, which is kind of a bad location, but well. Um, I've got most of it in there, and again, just in terms of technique, we're gonna put like kind of all of this here. Sorry, my cat almost got out. Um, okay, so we're gonna kind of put sort of most of this towards the back here, because the idea is you don't want this to be like fully sort of filled up. You only want sort of like the back half to be sort of lit up so that as it's rotating, it's not being hit sort of full blast on sort of all directions. Typically, you want to give it a little bit of time like to rest and then get blasted again. So anyway, so what I'll do, I'm gonna just hand pick a few pieces now, um, and just kind of finish this off real quick. That's probably pretty good. Maybe just one more. All right. I'm gonna call that done. So this is what it looks like now. And what I'll do now is show you the fire part, the fun part. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't do much talking there just because it's a little hard to hear me over the flame. But again, sort of what I try to do is I try to hit like one specific piece of this, sort of like further down. Um, and I hit it for maybe like 30 seconds, like a minute, just to get the flame started. Um, Now we're going to open this up here all the way, and then we're also going to have this open as well. Um, Something that I didn't do beforehand was clean this out, but I think it's going to be fine. So again, this will just kind of start to get sort of hot inside, and so we ultimately want to aim for about 350 internal. So this will be probably like 15 to 20 minutes until we are at a good temperature to start with, and then from there we can start to put the meat on. But that's the next part. Let's go ahead and close this up. Let's get it sort of hot in there. Um, and I'm going to move some stuff out of the way here. I'm going to actually put this back over here. And it's probably a pretty good angle. Yeah, okay. I'll keep it like that. Let's see how it looks on the phone. That actually looks a bit better, um, better than it used to. So I might have to go with this method going forward here. Um, but this is the messy part. Um, so we're going to use this later on. So this is to actually make the tortillas, and then this will be for garnish. Um, this again, this is a cast iron press here. So one thing that I will actually need to do is go get a few pieces of plastic wrap later on when we make this piece. So we'll make the tortillas closer to when we get like the first sort of parts of sort of like the pork done. I think that's when we'll start to make the tortillas themselves. And so they're actually going to be fried up in here. Um, so anyway, so let's go ahead and put this off to the side. We're actually going to use this pineapple for like the end pieces. So I actually used most of it actually like for doing like the marinade yesterday, sort of as I was prepping. So that's why you only see about like a third of it left. And again, we'll use this for garnish sort of later on too. But let's put those off to the side. I'm actually going to put them over there. Um, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and get some gloves on because this is going to be a messy exercise. And again, I mean, it's fine that this is going to get sort of messy. Um, I can just wash off here, sort of, when we're done. But I'm going to use gloves because, again, it's going to get messy. Let me just check the chat just to see if anybody has joined us here. Um, not just yet. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is actually slice off two reasonably sized pieces of the pineapple. Okay. So these are going to be our ends and just kind of keep everything together. I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to put these over there. A little trash plate, basically. And then let's do this one. I don't think there's really sort of any major difference, like in flavor, whether you keep sort of the outer part of the pineapple, it looks like the pineapple on or not. But I just think it looks nicer, to be honest. So again, I'm going to put all this over there, kind of clean as we go here. And let's go ahead and stick this down the middle here. All right. So let's get this situated in here. So there's one end. Now we have the fun part of actually layering all this on. So this is the messy part. Now, I've seen people get like trash bags and they will actually like put that down first. But honestly, I think it's fine just to do it this way. So one thing that I do want to show just real quick is all the pork here. So again, so this is pork shoulder. I picked this up from Costco, and again, the marinade includes pineapple, onion, garlic, thyme, um, salt, peppercorn. Um, let's see, cumin, oregano, several different dried chilies. Like so there was the Guajillo chilies. There were California chilies. some 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 anejo chilies. So again, lots and lots of different types of dried chilies. I sort of rehydrated. Again, I mean, I basically sort of rehydrated them in sort of boiling water, and then I took that and basically put it in a blender with sort of everything else. So that's the pork, uh, and I believe that's here. Let's just check the camera angle real quick. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Okay, so here's the fun part. So again, I tried to cut these like fairly thin, but again, sort of not all of them are going to be super thin, but that's fine. So I try to kind of anchor it down with at least two skewers here. I feel like if you don't do at least two, then the chances of it completely slipping off is greater. Um, so this is going to be sort of the boring part, or the part where sort of OC says, and Logan layered this on for 3 hours, right? I mean, I'm thinking that this process will take, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. So just hang tight with me as I do this. Um, and again, I would look at the chat right now, but I have very messy hands. So if you are watching, just kind of talk there sort of amongst yourselves. If you like to make tacos, what kind of tacos do you guys like to make? Do you even venture, out, and are you brave enough to make your own tacos? So maybe that should be the first question. But anyway, so again, there's several pounds of this, so this will take a little bit to get through. But if you do recall, I actually used this same sort of skewer, sort of pit or sort of spit thing when I was doing the uh, chicken thighs. And I actually think that was my first grill stream that I did. So shout out to all the OGs. Again, there's really no sort of OGs. I'm still very very new, so and like I don't really have a set schedule. I just kind of fire up a grill stream when I feel like doing so. Um, so let's rotate. I think I've lost this cue. Oh, here it is. This is kind of difficult to do when when everything is so slippery. But yeah, that piece might have to just hang out. Let's gonna break some of this up here. So soon, I'm gonna have to switch over to the other uh, skewer here because this one is getting full pretty quick. Yeah, so let's do this. Um, Not sure if it's going to be easier to go ahead and put it on now. Yeah, let's go ahead and put it on now. Um, that's probably yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's tie this down, or not tie it down, but tighten it down. Um, and we're going to do the same thing over here. Now, the part that I'm actually not too sure about is what to do with the stuff in the middle, or even if we need the middle. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna work yet. I mean, when I did the chicken thighs, um, like these were closer together, and everything was kind of nice and tight fitting, there. But I think because we have more this time, um, it might be a little more difficult to get everything on here. But again, so we'll see. Um, let's see. It's a good piece. I'm gonna rotate. You know what? I completely forgot to do the other piece of pineapple, but can't really go back now. It's too late. Um, we do have at least one, so that's something. Again, does the pineapple so consider does the pineapple actually do anything? I think it gives some flavor. Um, but again, the real pineapple flavor is actually in the marinade itself. So yeah, it's tough to get some of these on here, but if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the chat, and then at some point later on, I will read them. So let's rotate. I'm again sorry if you can hear the AC unit in the background. So let's talk a little bit of college football. So this weekend, is it week four or is it week five? I actually don't know. Um, but the big game this weekend is Alabama and Georgia. That's going to be on 6:30 Central Time. I'm in Central. Um, so I mean, I tried to time this so that by the time that this is done, um, I can probably watch that game. My Vols are not playing this weekend. They are on a bye week, um, and but again, we're sitting pretty. I think we're number five in the country. Um, so we're sitting pretty. Our our next game, our next game is Arkansas, which I mean, initially, we figured, oh, they're going to be a pushover, but I think they're better than a pushover. But I still don't think they're necessarily a threat. Um, so this is where I might have to start standing it up. Uh, yeah, this is actually a little bit easier. Now I just hope that these stay where they are. That's the thing. Those might slip off, but I'm thinking for the ones that may go in the middle, I might just have to pierce it through here, but I have to take this off first. So not entirely sure on that yet. something popped in there, but I think we're fine. Yeah, I think what I'll have to do, let's untie this. Let's start layering it in the middle, like so. And then we'll kind of squish everything back together um, at the end. Now, you might be asking, like, am I doing any sides with this or anything like that? No. Um, just, getting good. Getting. I'll be going simple today. Not necessarily doing some big side dish or anything like that. Am I doing a sauce with this? No, I'm actually not doing a sauce with this either. Um, the only sort of garnishment will be some of the onion here, and then cilantro and a bit of lime. Because ultimately, I kind of want the meat to kind of speak for itself. I want the marinade to speak for itself. And if you cover that up with another sauce, I feel like you're not really getting the full effect of sort of like the meat itself. Like the meat is going to be like the obvious sort of star of the show. So we've almost got all this on here. Just probably about 5 or 6 more pieces here. And I was debating, like, should I use a thermometer with this? Because again, we're going to cook this to about 145. So that's what you should cook pork to. Of course, chicken, sort of everybody should know, is 165. When you're grilling chicken, you can take it off at like 155 or 160, and then sort of the carryover heat is going to get it back up to what it needs to be. Um, but again, pork is going to be 145, and then with steak, I mean, sort of, sort of, for steak is sort of up to you. I mean, you can do it, pretty much raw, right? I mean, sort of like a black and blue type of thing. You can cook it to well done. But all right. So now, yeah. So that's what we're working with here. Oh, that didn't. Sorry, I missed the hole. There we go. Okay, and let's tighten this back up. And let's kind of smush this a little bit together. I just want to make sure everything stays in place. Okay, I think that's nice and tight. Um, what I'll do now, I'm gonna take these gloves off, and let's. Yeah, there's no way to knock it dirty. So. I'm gonna take this inside just to kind of again sort of clean up as we go here. Um, and what? I guess we could technically just kind of put this at the very end here, but this might break them. Yeah. Okay. So it kind of split, but oh well. Okay, I'm gonna take this back inside real quick. Got some marinade on the seat, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got that kind of cleaned up. Um, After we put this on, I'll probably go wash the cutting board too. But um, oh, we got some comments. Here we go. So I'll just kind of read the comments as we wait for this to um, get up to temperature. Again, we're kind of shooting for about 350 on that. So who do we have? We have Kyle D, Cilantro Death. You know, it, there's a lot of people who think cilantro tastes like soap. And if that is you, then I feel very sorry for you because cilantro is awesome. And I am not one of those soap taster people. Um, Uchabetic Mark, he says with Al Pastor is my favorite taco. Hey, well, you know, if I could bring some to you up in Pennsylvania, then I certainly would. But we are several hours apart. But we have original OC. Hey, thank you. I voted. Diego M. Too thick. Hey, I think what I probably should have done is if you want really thin slices of meat, you actually need to throw the meat in the freezer for like 20 or 30 minutes. It's going to ferment up and it's going to allow you to slice much thinner. Um, but yeah, I mean, sorry. I didn't do that, Diego. Sorry. Ryan Singer. Hey, welcome, man. Thank you for the upvote. Um, Mr. Tutor to you, damn Logan. This is a lot of work. Let's just go to Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's sort of like the most consistent comment that like I get. Like, geez, you're putting like so much work into this. Sort of why not just go buy it yourself? I mean, I do enjoy the whole process of sort of making the food and sort of sort of doing everything myself, doing everything from scratch. Um, so anyway, Kyle D, can I get this Canadian Taco Bell? No, I don't think there's ever been a taco in Canada. And if you do see a taco in Canada, then just run because it's not a real taco. Um, uh, I eat raw chicken raw. It's honestly how I stay tough when the hate streams are cut. Kyle, like you may not be with us too much longer if you keep that up. Um, Lick your fingers clean now. Yeah, that's a good catch, Mister Trigger to you. And then Jen G, I haven't been to La Hacienda in a minute. I don't know if I've ever been. I've definitely heard of the place, but I can't remember a time that I've been there. Uh, so anyway, um, let's check out the actual temperature gauge here. Okay, so we're sitting at a like almost like 250 right now. Let's just see what it looks like inside. Yeah, so we definitely got some good sort of white hot sort of embers in there, but it's not like fully, white there. So we're gonna let this go a little bit more again. Sort of by me opening this, it actually went down a little bit. Um, so I think if this doesn't get up to temperature in the next maybe 15 minutes, I might have to go put this back in the fridge because I don't want this to be out for too long. Um, but let's just go ahead and put this back real quick. Um, and yeah, yeah, okay. I will clean the cutting board later. But let's see. Any other comments? Not at the moment. Guys, tell me if the video quality is any better. Again, um, I started to talk about this during the start of the stream, but like I had, st- I was considering getting like the upgraded version of a StreamYard just to have sort of slightly better, camera quality. Um, because with the free version, which is what I have, um, you're limited to 720p, and so you know that doesn't look that great. So I was looking into the next level up, and it was like $8 a week. So I said, well, that's not terrible, I guess. Um, but the downside is you have to pay for the full 12 months. You know, like it's basically sort of billed annually. Um, so I'm sure that, you know, guys like you know, I'm sure that America is like, yeah, 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 that's what we had to pay uh for the watch community or whatever, I mean like in Tim probably has like the highest level, right? And that's even more expensive, but it's basically like $500 sort of upfront. And I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. But again, I'm trying this new phone here, the new camera, and hopefully that'll kind of um, make the quality a little bit better. I've been watching some of the streams back occasionally, like just to see is it even watchable? Like, is there too much like shakiness or is the connection bad or whatever? And there's definitely some streams where it's worse, and then there's some where it's better. But the challenge is, like I'm on my patio, and like this is about the range that my Wi-Fi will reach. So it's probably like clicking on and off of Wi-Fi, or sort of off Wi-Fi and sort of onto LTE um, often, which again sort of like is not all that great, but that's sort of what I have. Um, so I'm just gonna check the temperature real quick. So we're about 300. I think I'll give that another 2 or 3 minutes or so, and then we'll slap this on. Um, so yeah, just doing straight up sort of pork shoulder with the select Al Pastor marinade. I did manage to get 2 pieces of pineapple on sort of either side. Again, Diego, don't worry too much about the pineapple. Like I know that like you didn't like the pineapple. Um, I like. I think again when I get to the end, like there's not going to be sort of any pineapple that is like actually like on the tacos themselves. Like it's not going to go with like the onion or anything. I'm just doing onion, cilantro, just a bit of lime sort of at the end, just to keep things simple. Simple. Again, so like the meat needs to speak for itself, and like the meat is going to be like the spotlight here. So if I try adding like some kind of sauce with it, then I think that kind of like defeats the purpose of doing all this work, right? Um, so anyway, I think that's probably getting to a point now where we can put this on. Again, and it'll get sort of hotter as we go too. But I think what we have here and sort of what we have over here is probably good enough to at least get started. So I'm gonna put on my gloves, my heat gloves, and we're gonna put this on. All right, so I'm gonna position you guys over here. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much centered here. But let's go ahead and turn it on. And that's it, guys. Um, so let me kind of show you what it looks like here. Um, so again, some of this stuff is going to kind of like dangle off a little bit. That's just because sometimes it's a bit tough to get everything sort of you know sort of like skewered sort of right down sort of one of the four sort of skewers here. But anyway, that's what it's going to look like for maybe about 2 hours. I think that's what it's going to take to sort of get these. But again, as soon as these or again sort of when sort of like the outer part starts to get to like that 145 temperature, I think I'll actually take it off, start to shave some off, and then we'll make the sort of tortillas and then probably wrap it up from there. But Anyway, so we're going to close this so that it actually goes back to about 300. I do see a comment in the private chat. So who joined us here? Let's take a look. Oh, backstage. Hey, Diego. Okay. Diego, for me to bring you on, I'm gonna have to go upstairs real quick and let you in from my desktop. So I will let you in, but again, it's gonna take me like 20 or 30 seconds to actually get back down here. Um, so so again, so when you get let on, don't be alarmed if I don't answer you sort of right away. It will take like 2 seconds, I guess. Don't have much time. Looks okay. Let me go upstairs and bring you on. Okay, real quick. Let me go upstairs and bring you
Yo. Just wait for Logan to get back.
Okay, let me make sure the audio's up.
All right, I can hear you.
Uh, let's see. Okay.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
so I mean, yes, I can hear you.
Cool. Looks good, man. The proud of you for sticking to your cilantro, onion, and lime juice. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Some salsa verde, if you can make a little spicy one, sometimes that's good too. But really, it comes down to the lime. Um, have you tested your limes yet? By the way.
No, 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 I mean I haven't.
All right.
S-
So here's
hey,
what I
hey, hey,
suggest.
hey, sorry. Do you hear like an echo?
I don't. Let me see if I can turn my echo cancellation off.
Here. Let me actually put on some headphones real quick. And then we'll
Okay.
have the conversation. So give me like
All right.
2 seconds. Or actually, you know what? It's actually not going to work because I don't have my headphones paired with this phone. So you know what? Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm actually not sure if this whole like panelist thing is going to work right now. Um, I mean, I may be able to get some like earbuds, but I don't think that's going to work either. I don't think this phone actually came with any earbuds. So sorry for the technical sort of difficulties, Diego. Does the echo
It's
bother
okay.
you?
No, I don't hear an echo at all.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah,
just me that
we're
hears
good.
the echo. Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's fine.
What I was gonna say was I've had hundreds of tacos pastor in Mexico. It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
my favorite food. And the one thing that can ruin it is if your limes are very sour. So you want to have like
Ah,
nice sweet lime. So before you squeeze the lime on there, just kind of test it out first. Make sure it's nice and citrusy.
yeah. Okay.
And if it's
Yeah. I
bad,
mean,
just try another one. You
let
know.
me let me bring the limes on here. So these are the limes that I have. One thing that you should do when you have limes, you should actually kind of like roll them out on like a cutting board,
Yeah.
and then you slice into them. I think that kind of like re- sort of redistributes sort of like the juices or something like that. But again, when I do like a lemon or like a lime, I always try like to roll it out like a little bit on the
Yeah.
cutting board first.
Now, are you making your own tortillas? I heard you say you're going to
Yes,
make the
yes, I am.
tortillas.
So
So you've
so I
got
have.
masa and you got to press and all
Uh,
that.
let me bring this into focus here. So this is
Yeah.
the masa that I have. Again, just like a
Yeah.
very, very sort of a generic brand, like sort of nothing special, but yes. So I'll pair this with some hot water and like a bit of salt, and then I have a
Yep.
press here that I'll use to sort of press these out.
Now, you know what they use on the press in Mexico? They just use plastic bags.
Yes, yes. So see, I mean, I do actually have some plastic wrap. So you have to
Yep.
put some on the bottom and the tops, in sort of like the so plus basically it's like the dough will be sort of there, sort of between the two plastic parts.
Right. Now, I did hear you say you were going to fry them. Um,
Um,
what do you
well, I
mean by
mean,
that? Because the pastor tortillas, they're usually very, very, very thin. There's usually two, and I've seen in the States a lot of people they literally fry their tortillas. In Mexico, it's literally just straight onto nonstick, right? There might be a little bit
y-
of oil just so that it doesn't stick, but definitely not a greasy tortilla. You
yeah,
want a
no, no, no.
nice,
So
dry, warm, soft corn tortilla
yeah, yeah.
or
So
flour. So yeah, whatever, corn.
well, yes. I mean, I might have misspoke. So what I do, or um, so again, so I mean, so I'll just kind of put this into like the fire with just some cast iron, and then to
Perfect.
sort of do it that way. Like I'm not actually like frying it like an oil.
Okay, okay, perfect. Yeah, that's excellent then. Sweet man. Well, they look good, and you're doing it right by you know shaving it as it's getting cooked because otherwise it overcooks. If you try to get that whole thing to
Yeah, yeah,
temperature, it's going to take forever and it's not going to be as juicy. But
yeah,
it's my
agreed,
favorite food,
agreed.
man.
When I first started, or when I was sort of planning this out, like I was thinking about just doing like the whole thing, like the 145, but then I thought, well, the outer parts are going to be like way too way too dry, like an overcooked. So
Yep.
yeah. So again, as soon as like that's what the outer part, it's it's like the 140 or 145. Then I'll pull it off, shave some off, and then sort of make the make the tortillas. Then sort of have some, and then I'll probably sign off after that.
Cool. Do you have a little thing to keep the tortillas warm in? One of those little mitts?
There are tortilla warmers, but I don't actually have one. Probably what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get some like slightly moist towels, put that in
Exactly.
put that in sort of a container, and then kind of cover the cooked tortillas in that sort of like that warm sort of towel.
That's perfect, man. That's how you do it. Sweet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm about to be at the where I'm going, so I just wanted to say good job. It looks really good. Look, it's got the
Yeah,
right
thank you,
color.
man.
That's the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
important
yeah,
thing right
yeah.
there.
Thank you. I mean, I think that you're actually like the very first person that I've ever had on the panel. So thank
I
you for
know. I
being
was
the
like,
first.
I was like, oh shit, he dropped the link. All right, I'll jump in. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
sweet. All right. Well, I got to figure out how to park because I seem to have forgotten. So I'll talk to you later,
Okay.
man.
All right. Sounds good, man. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
See you.
All right. So that was Diego M. Diego, thank you. Thank you for hopping on here. Um, I mean, I did actually realize that, like, when I have somebody else on here, um, the problem is I actually have both my audio going that's sort of being played back as well as the live audio from the panelists. So I think I'm gonna have to get a set of just earbuds when I do have people on the panel. Um, but uh, but again, thank you, Diego, for hopping on. Sounds like he was, doing some parking there. Uh, but anyway, let's just take a look and see what we have going on now. Yeah, yeah. So this is already looking, good. Of course, this is gonna get sort of hotter and hotter, of course. But again, we want to try to keep it around 350 the whole time. If this gets too hot, what I'll do is I'll actually just kind of open this up and let sort of and let sort of like let let the sort of like let the heat sort of come out so that it goes back down to like a much more reasonable temp. We don't want to cook these too fast, and then it gets charred too quickly, and then sort of like the insides are not like evenly cooked, right? Um, so anyway, what I think I'll do now actually is just go clean the cutting board real quick, so that we can start to make some of the dough here. Now I think actually like maybe, well, okay. So maybe before we make the dough, I think we might just have to chat a little bit more, because I'm thinking that the first ones that we uh, actually sort of shave off, like that may not be ready until like maybe like 45 minutes from now, maybe like an hour from now. Um, so what I'll probably do is first just go sort of wash the board, get that cleaned up. And we might just have a bit of a chat sort of for maybe 20, 30 minutes. So uh let me leave you guys here. I'm gonna just go clean this board up a little bit, and then I'll come back. So like maybe like 2, 3 minutes. All right, we are an hour in. Got a clean cutting board now, so that will help us with. Uh, oh, you know what? I think there's a clean cutting board now somewhere. There we go. Okay. Um, so let's put this back here. All right, so we got the cast iron, we got the masa. We also have the press. All right. So again, it's going to be a little bit until we actually make the tortillas. Um, again, I kind of want to make these closer to when we can start to shave some of this off. Um, but anyway, let's see who else is in the chat here. Chicken raw, no echo here. Okay, we'll be having breakfast tomorrow by this time the dinner's done. Yes, yes. Again, sort of good things take a while to make. OC. Helen came in when tacos still cooking. Yeah, yeah, yes, 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 yes. So we did get quite a bit of rain here for for the hurricane that came by. I do, I do just want to, say if you were affected by the hurricane in any way, like whether in Florida along the coast or whether you're in Georgia or South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, definitely my heart goes out to you, and I hope that you can get through. However you were affected, I hope that you know you can basically recover, quickly. Right. My sister was actually in Virginia just a few days ago, and she was staying at an Airbnb, just sort of like a getaway with her husband. Um, and their streets completely flooded. They were told to evacuate, and and thankfully they got out, sort of just in time. I think I think the Airbnb that they stayed in eventually did did start to get water in it. Um, so again, floods are no joke, guys. Please do take them seriously. Um, when you hear the warning, like there is no time to wait. Like you just take action right there and then. So again, everybody affected. It's like my thoughts go out to you for sure. So, um, but yeah. So, I actually did realize that. Like I kind of feel like I might have put on the rotisserie just a little bit off, um, because there's a little bit more heat escaping than I want it to. But I don't think there's really too much we can do about that right now. We're just going to go with what we have. So anyway, let's see if anybody else is in the chat. Yeah, Mr. True to you, OC, Genji. What's up, guys? Hope you're enjoying the stream. Again, we'll give it maybe another. Yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit until we actually um, like actually start to eat. Now again, if you were a guest here, or whatever, like I would make sure like that all this is done sort of way before anybody actually comes because I don't want them waiting around or anything. Um, but yeah, the actual tortillas, I think that they shouldn't take too long to make. Honestly, it's like the process for making these is um, I'll either like do it right here on the cutting board, or I might just go get a bowl real quick and we'll just kind of eyeball sort of how much we need here. I mean, probably like a cup or maybe even 2 cups worth of that. And then it's a little bit like rice. I mean, like it, sort of like like a 1 to 2 sort of a ratio a little bit. Not sort of quite that much, but I think we're gonna have to eyeball it. Um, so I think ultimately, um, like you want to start out with a little bit of water, and then kind of build it in, and then do a little bit more, build it in. You don't want it to be too dry where it becomes like flaky and like it starts to fall apart on you. But at the same time, you don't want it to be too hydrated, because then it's not really going to cook too evenly. Um, right. So, right. So sort of like the outside might be cooked through, but the inside is still going to be like soft and mushy. Um, so and again, so that's why we have the press here. So like the press is going to get that to like a uniform thinness, and sort of once we're good there. Um, again, this this will just sort of go into like the pan. I'm probably not going to use any oil in the pan. Again, if you have a well seasoned cast iron pan, um, you really shouldn't need oil. I mean, um, so like the same thing goes for like the wok. I did like a stir fry stream. Uh, I guess it was maybe like 2 weeks ago now, maybe. And if you have a well seasoned wok, like you really, I mean, you can cook an egg in a well seasoned wok that's super high temperature without oil. Now, I mean, I think for stir fry, typically it's done so fast and you can sort of at like such a high temperature. Um, like the pros can use or like sort of not use any oil, but I think for 99% of everybody else, you will have to use oil, so that your food doesn't stick, right? Um, but again, when we get to this stage, I probably won't use any oil. I mean, this is seasoned well, but like maybe not sort of quite sort of as well as it could be. Um, but again, so we'll just try it like and see what happens. I originally was going to uh, cook this or sort of use this pan in there, but I started to think a little bit. I actually need something that I've already taken out of this to go back in there. Um, like so right now, like there's really sort of nothing in there other than like the actual basket at the bottom of the charcoal, and then of course we have the meat. Um, Now, if you are a user of like a big green egg or a Kamado Joe, you do actually uh, have these like pieces that sort of loosely fit in there that hold the grates together. Um, so when I first got this, like that was sort of one thing that was kind of unusual to me. Like nothing is really like held into place in here. It's quite literally just you have this shell, sort of the ceramic here. And then there are sort of deflector plates inside, but they just kind of sit there. You don't necessarily sloth them into anything. They just kind of sit there. And then like same thing for like the outer rim. I mean, it just kind of sits there. Uh, and for the thing that holds the grates in, it just sort of sits there. Like it doesn't necessarily slot in nicely. It just sort of sits there. Um, but again, I mean, I've gotten used to it now. But again, if you are thinking about getting one of these or some kind of big green egg, so that is sort of one thing to note. Um, so no more comments here. But hey, we do have a concurrent 9 viewers here. So guys, if you are watching, remember to please upvote. Um, Again, I don't necessarily know where I want to take this channel. I'm just doing this for fun. I like to show other people what I cook and sort of the whole process of cooking. And I'm really doing this more for myself than you guys, which might sound a bit selfish or whatever. Um, but again, I've had friends and family say like, oh, we love your food. We would love to see you, actually cook it, like sort of see you in action. So, um, and like the whole reason that like I started this channel was Mathis put up a Logan grill stream graphic in one of his shorts, and this was like maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And at the time I didn't actually have a channel. He just kind of threw that up, and I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I should actually make streams, and actually share this. So again, if you are enjoying what we're doing here, please upvote. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I think we're at about like 100 subs right now. So again, thank you guys for pushing this over that's sort of like that the 3-digit mark. Um, so again, I mean, I've gained maybe 2 subs a week, maybe sort of maybe 3, but I think it's ultimately just the watch community people that have are are sorting or are starting like to find out about the channel, like, and maybe they weren't sort of aware of it previously, but um, anyway. So again, thank you guys. Thank you to those who have supported me sort of this whole time. And I'll keep making videos until I don't want to anymore, until I get bored, or if there's no more interest, then I'll probably stop. But again, for the time being, I'll just keep on making videos, and I guess keep you guys entertained. And ultimately, I mean, yes, it's sort of entertainment for you guys, but I hope that I'm giving you some kind of giving some. I'm hoping that I'm giving you some kind of education here too. Um, you know, when I do these streams, I go into a lot of detail about sort of what I'm doing and sort of why I'm doing it, or why I'm taking this method sort of over a particular other method. Um, you know, like I try to be very thorough so that this is not just entertainment, but it's also sort of educational too. Now, I mean, I'm not some sort of master chef. Like I didn't didn't go to a culinary school or anything. I just went to a business school, sort of like most other people. And like I worked a corporate job, of course. But but again, this is what I like to do on the weekends. Like when I have time, I like to spend the day cooking. And that kind of fills up my day. Um, and sometimes I'll have friends and sort of family over, but it's usually just me. Um, Now, what I don't eat here, I'll probably just probably like freeze it. Or what I'll probably do actually is I will make like other dishes this week out of what I get out of this. So I'll probably do some kind of like Mexican beans and rice with this pork later this week. I might do like some kind of like Mexican soup out of it. But again, I try to be creative in what I make, so that what I make isn't like going to waste or anything. And then like I don't throw anything away. I I try to use as much of what I cook sort of as I can. Um, and so that's just sort of my philosophy, I guess. Let's check the chat and see who's still here. Okay, so we still have about 8 people. So again, thank you guys for the support here. I think you know what. I don't think I actually finished sort of going over so like this sort of process here for the tortillas. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was talking about how how I don't actually have something like to hold this in there right now, and I don't necessarily want to take stuff out right now. When I do shave this, though, like that first layer, um, I mean, I do have to take this out anyway. So I might actually still use it. But again, the problem is, um, if I do use this to actually do the tortillas too, then this is going to sit a lot lower, and they're sort of like on like that like first rack. So like there's room for like maybe 3 or 4 racks in here, and when you are cooking with this, like you do kind of have to be strategic about like what you put on different racks because obviously the lower rack is going to get hotter. Um, and like the further you go up, the less hot it is. Um, so when I'm smoking meat, uh, like a brisket or ribs, typically that's going to be much higher up versus sort of when I'm like searing a steak, that's going to be much lower. Um, because again, when you're searing, you ultimately want it sort of sort of hot as possible, and again, because you only care about the crust at that point. Like you don't necessarily care um, about like cooking it any further. Like you only care about getting a nice crust. Um, so sometimes you'll hear me talk about gray band. Gray band is basically when you when you do a steak and on the very out like when you actually cut into the steak, um, the very outer layer might be a little bit gray and the center should be a nice sort of rosy pink if you're going for like a medium rare or rare or sort of even medium, um but again, a good steak is going to have very minimal gray band, or if you're really good at it, you won't have any gray band. So that's why you have to get it as hot as you can when you're searing because you only want that to be on long enough to get a sear, and you don't want to cook it any further inside. If you like see a let's like a cross section of a steak that has a lot of like grayness and then some pink in the middle, then it's overcooked and it's not cooked evenly. Um, so that's why I sort of separate cooking the internal versus doing the outer portion too. Um, so anyway, just another sort of rant about steaks. But when you're smoking meat, at like a very low temperature, like 180, 185, 200 or whatever, um, and if we're using specific kind of wood, like an oak wood or sort of a mesquite wood or whatever, you'll actually have a red band, and red band is actually good. So that's what you want when you have a red band around like meats that you smoke. You will get like the more red band that you have, uh, that's like the more sort of smoke flavor that you have in the meat that you're smoking. Um, so again, so red band is good when you're smoking meat. When you're grilling, you don't want gray band because again, that just shows that you probably let it sit too long outside, or at least like you let it sit too long when you were doing the sear. Um, I'm gonna check the temperature of this just to see how we're doing here. So we're doing about 250, 275. It's a little bit lower than what I was kind of hoping for. Let me just here. Let's take a look real quick just to check in. Yeah, so that's already looking very nice here. It looks like my pineapple kind of slid off to the side there, but that's all right. One thing I might do is I might add a bit more charcoal in there, just so that we kind of keep that going. So I'm gonna put you right there, and then I'm gonna put a bit more charcoal in real quick. It's a pretty big piece, actually. So we've got a bit more charcoal in there. The brand that I use for charcoal, by the way, um, so this is called Fogo. Again, oh, you know what? Sorry, you can't even see that. Fogo. Yeah. Um, now, I've I've heard that this brand of charcoal is better, like it lasts longer and it improves flavor. But I mean, unless I had like two of these sort of side by side, and like one of them I use Fogo, and then in this like another one I use maybe sort of the charcoal that the sort of a Kamado Joe sells. Um, that's the only like true way to do a real comparison. Um, because I space out my cooks, usually I use this on the weekends, but if I like, again, because I space out my cooks, like there's really no way to tell like which charcoal is better. Um, but again, I mean, I've heard really good things about Fogo, so I mean, I've used it for the last two or three cooks, and it's good. But I will say, this is kind of true of sort of any sort of lump charcoal, but um, you do want like medium to large lumps of sort of charcoal. But again, sort of as you saw in at the start, there's a lot of smaller pieces, and like you really can't do much with those. So, um, but anyway, so let's go back to the chat here. Still got a hey again. So thank you guys for sticking around. I do appreciate it. Um, Again, like you're probably not watching like too intently. Like this is probably just sort of going on in the background as you drive or as you do other stuff. But uh, again, sort of like this will get sort of more interesting later when we actually make the tortillas. I mean, I still haven't finished it. Okay, so here's the process. We'll kind of do like a 1 to 1.5, maybe two ratio of uh, sort of like the corn flour with hot water. That that is sort of like the key. Like if you can't use like, well, I mean, you could use cold water, but again, for it to really meld and sort of bond with each other, you need to be using like hot water or eat like just sort of slightly below boiling, basically. Um, and then we'll also put some salt in there as well. Um, but again, we will get some plastic wrap, and then we'll kind of use the press here, and then we're going to flatten that out nicely. Now, full disclosure, this is the first time I'm actually making my own tortillas. I haven't previously done this, but again, just sort of just based on what I've seen sort of others do, um, that that is basically the process. So now, whenever you do make it, like you don't sort of it's like you don't like immediately sort of put it on the pan. You really need to kind of put it in what's called like a tortilla warmer. If you do have one, great, awesome. I personally don't have one, but but again, so you can make a tortilla warmer out of most sort of anything. If you have some glassware, like that has like a lid or something, um, you know, or even sort of a plasticware too. Really, sort of all you have to do is you get a few warm towels. So maybe just sort of get a few towels, sort of like nice and sort of nice and sort of hot water, and then you just kind of wring them out, but you don't wring them out sort of fully. Like you still want some of that heat, and you're basically creating a environment for the tortilla to kind of finish off cooking, um, or at least get to a kind of evenness throughout. Um, so again, um, that's sort of after you make it. Uh, but anyway, that's the process that we'll do later on. So let's take a look here. Um, oh, if you didn't know, fogo means fire in Portuguese. Hey, I actually didn't know that. That is something I learned new. Thank you, Mr. Tudor. Hey, Mr. Tudor, when are we gonna meet up? Um, I mean, I definitely want to see that new tutor of yours. And like I mean, I'm still rocking mine here. So um, again, it'd be great to, meet up in person, and do a little Nashville sort of a get together. I know we don't have a lot of folks here. I mean, our group is, much smaller than like a Florida crew or like a New York crew, um, but again, like it only takes two people to do a meetup, right? Um, just ask Boston Collector because sort of Boston isn't 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 sort of that big of a group either. I mean they might have like four or five people or whatever, but um, because there's MJ and sort of Jeff is sort of a halfway Boston, halfway Florida guy. Uh, but again, I mean, I think if you were to ask Jeff, Jeff would probably say that he's full Florida. But because Florida is a bit more exciting and a bit more fun than Boston. But Boston has its nice qualities too, right? So not fully hating on Boston here, um, but guys, if you are watching and you want to be part of the panel, I do have the link pinned. The pin is linked. Um, now, again, there's going to be an echo for me, uh, but there probably won't be an echo for you. Um, so if you do want to hop on the panel, just know that if I don't respond like immediately, it's because like there might be like a slight delay. But um, anyway, um, so that's that. I think we're getting to a point now. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, yeah, yeah. So we got a nice fire going. Yeah, yes. I mean, I'm glad that we did add that additional uh, charcoal in here. It might actually be a little bit too hot, possibly, but again, hopefully not. Let's actually check where the temperature was. It okay. So before me opening this, it was probably closer to 300. Maybe like even like 325. So that's actually better. Actually, again, so like that's sort of closer to what I wanted anyway. So yeah, so that's kind of going back up to that 300 mark. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna step away real quick and get a thermometer. I'm curious how far along this pork is. So give me just 2 seconds while I go get a thermometer real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I kind of like misplaced this. I mean, I mean, I couldn't find it for like the longest time, but then I finally did find it though. Um, so yeah, so the temperature is it's actually getting up to about 400 now. So that's actually a little too much. We're gonna open this up just a bit. Um, yeah, so that's looking good. I'm gonna let's turn this off for a moment. Yeah, let me actually let's put a glove on here. So we're at roughly, you know what? Yeah. So the outer part might actually be getting really close. Actually, yeah. So like the 140 ish. So let's do this. Let's actually, you know what? Um, I've been wanting to take a picture here for a bit. Um, so let's take a picture. Actually, you know what? Let me turn this back on. All right, I got some glamour shots that I can use later on. Um, so those are actually looking almost ready to shave off. Actually, um, that actually got done a little bit quicker than I anticipated. So now that we know where those are, we can actually go ahead and start making the tortillas. So what I'm going to do, let's take all this off real quick. And again, I think I did decide. I'm actually just going to bring out my propane burner and just kind of use that to do the tortillas out here. Um, and then I'm also going to get, again, I'm just going to make like a makeshift tortilla warmer. Again, you know what I mean? I don't actually own one, um, which again might be a bit shocking to you guys. You know, you guys see sort of all these, cooking gadgets, and you're like, oh my gosh, how does Logan not have that strange gadget, right? Well, um, I don't actually like do this sort of all that often, so um, So anyway, let's go ahead. Okay, let me just grab a few things real quick. This might take a minute. So sort of hang tight with me, and you guys can sort of watch that over there. So I'll be back in a couple minutes. Here's that. I will be right back. Just need to grab a couple other things real quick. Got a bowl and I got some salt. Let's check on this real quick. Yeah, that's looking good. Let me get, sorry, one more. Okay. Sorry about the wait. Scoot this down a little bit. I need a lighter. Give me 1 second. Actually, I've got this. So let's do this real quick. All right, so I've got this going now. This will take a minute to heat up. I've got hot, very hot water, like basically, sort of almost boiling. Um, so this was actually on a pot inside, um, and it was boiling there. So let me show you my sort of makeshift tortilla warmer setup. I've got two towels here, and I've got just sort of both are nice and warm, and it's going to create sort of a nice sort of warm environment for the tortillas here. So what we'll do is I'm actually going to put that kind of off to the side over here, and I will just kind of uncover that for the time being. Um, yeah, let me dial that back a little bit. Um, so we're gonna, you know what? Let me actually adjust the camera here. I want you guys to visually see what I'm doing here. Um, let's do this. All right, I think that'll work. So first things first, let's get the dough. So let's just pour in, I don't know, like a cup maybe. Okay, that's a little bit more than a cup. Okay, I think that'll be fine for what we're doing now. Let me just make sure there's no comments here before we do this. This is looking great so far. Hey, thank you, Genji. I appreciate it. Boston Collector, Logan Hall is a true artist. Facts. Hey, thank you guys. Um, so we have the warm water here. So let's just kind of add just a little bit here. And we're going to start to incorporate that into the flour. So we're just going to keep adding this until we get a nice dough. Okay, so I'm going to wait a second so that like the water actually cools down just a little bit. Don't want to burn myself. Let's add a bit more water. And I will give that a second to cool down just a little bit. While we're waiting, actually, we can add in some salt. Should be good. Let's see if it's still a little bit hot. So I'll give that a second. Yeah, that still just a bit hot for my liking. So let's give it just a moment. See how this is doing. We can turn this down just a little bit. All right. Now we're starting to get a dough. We're getting a shaggy dough. Again, still a little too dry, but we want the dough to be pliable. Now, corn flour doesn't have any gluten, so we don't have to worry about like over mixing this. Typically, with most other doughs, you kind of have to be careful about how much you're mixing and how much you're kind of pressing down here, because if you keep on pressing and you keep on you know doing this, you're going to get sort of more sort of gluten development. So this is starting to come together. I think we need just a little bit more. And I'm going to give that a few moments to just to sort of settle a little bit. Again, it's like there's not necessarily like, again, sort of earlier I was saying like, oh, you need to do like one to one and a half, or maybe 1 to 2. But again, you don't, it's like it's really just like an eyeball thing. Like you're not going to see like a grandma, uh, actually like measure out a very specific amount of you know water like or anything like that. It's like it's sort of just all done from by eye and just sort of by feel. I'm gonna do one quick thing real quick. So again, so as you here, let me actually just check on this real quick. I just don't want it to be too much. Yeah, so that's quite a bit of I think sort of most of like the marinade is actually dripping on down to the fire. But again, that's fine. I mean, with the fire is still going, but at some point I may actually want to add a bit more charcoal in. So let's put that off right there. Now let's go back to this view. All right. So let's get back to this. And I think that's probably uh, good enough sort of water wise. If you feel like you've put in too much water, the way to fix that is to put in more flour. So, hey, how's it going? So that was Stan, my neighbor again. Um, he's got what's that? Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It didn't stop me from grilling though. Yeah, so that was Stan, good guy. So Stan actually showed up in one of my other streams. I think it was the last stream actually. Um, and I was just telling him, even though it's still like technically like raining some, doesn't really stop me from grilling. So, but again, it definitely helps that I have a covered patio here. Um, so I think this is pretty much where we need it. I might add just a little bit more flour because I feel like it's just a hair bit soggy. So let's just kind of work in this additional flour here. And sorry if this is shaking around a little bit here. I don't mean to make you guys dizzy. Uh, I think that's a pretty good consistency. So what we're gonna do is now that the dough is kind of where I want it, we're gonna break off little balls here, and we're gonna kind of form the balls. Um, so let's put this over here, and I'm gonna just kind of use my hand here to just kind of roll this up. So that's roughly the size we're going for. You know what? I think I want to do just a little bit more water. Just a splash. So while that cools down, let's form this ball. That might be a little too small, but that's all right. Let's see how hot this is. Maybe just a bit pasty, I guess. But I think this is actually a little bit better. Again, if you had to pick one, you want to be a bit more pasty than a bit drier. Again, sort of dry is what you don't want. Um, so let's break off a little bit more here. Yeah, yeah, that's better. So we'll just keep going here. Probably got about four more tortillas to go here. So in total, we'll have about 7 tortillas. I think that's plenty here. Again, I haven't really been like showing this, but again, so this is kind of what you want to go for, just a nice sort of evenly rolled ball. I'm using my hands here just to kind of roll it to a nice evenness. All right, so this is going to be the test one, just to see whether this is too hot, too cool. Um, I'll probably keep it at the temperature that it is right now. Actually, that's probably pretty good. Um, so what we need to do now is we're going to actually use the press, the tortilla press. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna put you guys down over there. And I'll put that like that. Okay, that's a pretty good view actually. Um, and sorry, let me go back real quick. Okay, sorry. That probably went black for a moment there, so sorry about that. But okay, what I actually need to do now is actually get a bit of plastic wrap. So I'll be right back. Got the plastic wrap. I've also decided here that I think I'm going to go ahead and take off this because I think the outer layer is getting maybe a little too done for my liking. And plus we're going to give this like an opportunity for sort of like the inner parts to also get sort of nicely cooked and sort of charred as well. So give me 1 second. All right, so here's what we got here. I I I think we actually might have lost some in the fire, but that's all right though. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve off a little bit here and just sort of keep that part warm. So so the way that this is kind of working here is, I guess maybe more than what I want to carve off is coming off here. Um, so I'm actually going to condense this down a little bit more because we did lose a little bit in the fire, which is all right. Again, there's still plenty here, but I'm going to find. Here we go. Let's unscrew this, and then I'm going to push this all together. Have a bit of a more cohesive uh, sort of joint here. So let's move some of this cooked stuff out of the way, and we'll use some of that. You know what? I'm actually going to go get some scissors. I think scissors would be a lot easier. So give me 1 second. All right, I got some scissors here. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of start chopping up. You know what? Take this glove off. I'm just going to start chopping off. Ooh, that was lost, fortunately. Yeah, yeah, this is what I'll do. I'll start to chop off some of the parts that are already pretty charred. Yeah, this works way better. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna just put all that to the side right now, and then we're gonna put this back on. Uh, uh, Actually, let's take that off too. Yeah. All right. Let's put this back on. Put the other glove on. All right, so we'll let that get a bit more charred up, and then we'll take that inside as well. But let's leave that there for now. That meat will actually get a little bit cold while we're doing this, but I can just heat it up in the pan again. Um, so let's do this. We got the plastic wrap, so we need two pieces of plastic wrap, one for the bottom and one for the top. So let's clean off the knife a little bit, and let's set these over here. Not a lot of room to work with, unfortunately. So there's one piece. That will be our bottom piece. This will be our toppings. Okay. So, can you guys see the press okay? Yeah, yeah, you can see the press. All right. So, let's start with the ugliest one. And that'll be our test subject here to see how well of a press, presser I am, I guess. Let's put this on. Let's do a little bit more. Yeah. It's probably about the thickness I want. So again, so I mean, like not the most circular or just like the prettiest one, but let's throw this in here and fry this, or not again, not frying, but just cook it up. I'm actually gonna go. Let's crank this up a little bit more, and I'm gonna go get a spatula real quick. I'll be right back. So again, if you have a good seasoning, then it really shouldn't stick. But again, sort of mine is sticking actually, so maybe not quite where it needs to be in terms of seasoning, but that's all right. Yeah, so you guys have a good view here. Um, Let me check and see if there's any more comments. Kyle D, I was recently told by a Latina Patty that if the tortilla isn't corn, it's not a real taco. Well, I think you heard correctly, Kyle D. I think you definitely heard correctly there. Um, I kind of feel like my pan is not hot enough here. You know why? I think I. Okay, sorry guys. I ran out of fuel. I think. You know what? Here, let me relight this real quick. Yep, I ran out of fuel. Um, we may have to take this inside actually, to be honest. So this is why you have a sort of like a sacrificial tortilla here because of things like this. Um, so that's why I was not getting any heat on this. I think we can still use this tortilla, but let me actually take you guys inside real quick. Um, and I'll get the sort of like the range in there going. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm going to take my defunct grill or burner inside. I'll give you this view for a moment. Sometimes things don't go as planned, guys. So not to worry though. We're just going to move inside. I'll come get you guys in just a moment. So just hang tight. So before we go back inside, let's check and see Yeah, so we're starting to get some char on those as well. Um, so let's come back to this in just a moment here. Um, I will, let's take this inside with us. Okay, doke, guys, it's much more quiet here. I'm going to turn on the camera and I'm going to give you a view of this. Oops. All right, sorry guys, it probably went black there for a moment. But I think this is now hot enough for that initial tortilla. So, all right, let's give it a try. And again, this is the first time I'm making tortillas, so this may end up terribly, or it may end up, you know, awesome. So so we'll just see. I think I might actually move it just a little bit closer. All right, so we're starting to get some color. So I think just based on this first one here, I think it needs to actually be a little bit thinner. Um, because sort of ideally you kind of want it to puff up a little bit. Um, and I think this one is a little too thick for that. I also think the heat is a little too hot for this. So that's why you always have a it's like a sacrificial tortilla. Very similar to how you might have a sacrificial pancake, right? Like the very first pancake you do, you don't know if it's going to be good. You know, you're just kind of getting the feel for it. Um, so I think, yeah. So it's definitely a little too hot. So let's just probably just trash that one. I'm going to bring the temperature down a bit more. Um, and one thing, let me, yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and do another one here. Again, we're going to do this one a bit thinner. There's our plastic. Okay, I think that's a much better size actually, like overall. Um, I'm gonna smush it down to, oh, whoops. A little bit of it came off on the top. So I guess it wasn't fully covered in plastic. Whoops. Um, let's make sure that's fully covered. Let's push it down just a little bit more. Yep. All right. I think this will be a first real one here. Yeah, that's much better. So let's just take a look here. So this is sort of the thickness here that again sort of I was looking for here. I'm gonna turn down the temp just a little bit and let's give that a shot. So we're kind of aiming for about like 45 seconds per side or so, maybe it's like a minute per side. but again, that's, you know, you can sort of just based on what I've seen, this is typically what people do. Um, so I'm gonna just there we go. Yeah. So that's yeah. So that's looking much better, I think. Um, again, you do want a little bit of char, but um, not a ton. And then it's starting to puff up a little bit, which is sort of closer to what I wanted to. Um, so um, so let's see what that looks like. Again, when you're doing like the second side, it's not going to be as long. It might be like half the time. It might be more like 20 or 30 seconds. Um, but again, I'm still playing with the temperature here. I don't want it like so hot that you get a char too quickly. But I do want the char to be like pretty. See, okay. So we're not. So this one's maybe is still just a little too hot. You know what? I'm actually gonna take this off the eye for a moment. Let it cool back down a little bit. Um, let's get this right here. Let's give that just a second to cool down. I think this one might be another a sacrificial one. I don't know. Let's go ahead and put it in our in our warmer here, and we might use that one like last or something. Um, but again, I sort of again sort sort of something like the best that I have is just a electric range. Unfortunately, I don't have a gas range, but you know that's all right. Um, it's still pretty hot. I'm not sure. I mean, I've turned this down sort of almost all the way here, but I think it's kind of been off now for a decent amount of time. So let's get that up and going again. We can now do our third tortilla. Maybe this will be the one, guys. Cheer me on. All right. Testing one, two, three. Okay. Hey guys, sorry about that. My camera got a little too hot. So again, I need to like stop putting it so close to the heat source because that's how the camera wants to go into like shutdown mode and all that. Um, so um, so anyways, sorry about that. I'm back now. But let's go ahead and put you guys back on the mount. Okay, and I'm going to put you guys a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to put you guys a little bit further back here, um, so that you don't get burned. But again, this is how the other one turned out here. Um, again, sort of pretty happy with that. But again, we need to cover this and put it back in the warmer for it to kind of finish its sort of process here. I'm not sure if you can see me from there, but let's go ahead and do our next one. I'm starting to get the hang of it and start to get a feel for how much I need to be pressing down. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. I still think that's a little too hot. Let's cook this off the eye and give this an opportunity to cool down a little bit. So again, about 45 seconds for the first side. So the importance of having like a actual sort of warmer is you don't want them to like dry out when you sort of take them off this like the cooking surface. So and plus it kind of gives it an opportunity to finish finish cooking here. So we have some charred pieces there. I think that looks all right. What does that look like for you guys? Yeah, I mean it's pretty far away, unfortunately. Sorry. Um, so again, the second side doesn't need as long. But again, I'm probably not going to do all of these sort of live here. I realize that me cooking tortillas might not be the most exciting thing in the world. I basically just want to get this to a point where I can show you guys sort of like an end to end, full one here. Um, so this is probably going to be the last one that I actually do here. I'm going to scoot this back over to the eye. And then I'll probably use this one to do the actual, you know, show and tell here. But actually, one thing that like I do want to do, I'm actually going to go back outside, clip off some of the ones that are still sort of cooking out there. So those are probably nice and charred by now. So let's go ahead and take this one off. And let's put this in our warmer, sort of makeshift warmer. Like so. And we'll let that hang out in there for a few minutes as we go back and see what's outside real quick. Do I need anything? I guess not. Oh, you know what? I actually do need this. So we're back outside. Um, I'm going to, all right. So we'll do, we'll take this off here. Yeah, that's nice and sharp. So this is what we're left with. This is probably fully cooked through here. So what I'll probably do, we're going to be done with this, I think. And what I think I'll do here is I'm going to push this stuff off to the side real quick, and I'm going to um, undo. Oh, sorry guys, you can't actually see that. But let's go ahead and undo these here. Yeah. All right. Pretty sure all that's thoroughly cooked through here. Yeah, so unfortunately we lost a little bit to the fire, but I think we still have a good amount here. Um, so let's take this back inside, and I'm going to chop this up a little bit. So give me just a second, guys, as I kind of move things around. All right, so we're back inside. Again, I'm not going to do any more tortillas here. I want to just go ahead and kind of get things wrapped up here for you guys. One thing we need to do real quick is do the onion as well as the cilantro. And then what I'll do, I'm going to chop up all the meat a bit more finely, and then we're going to finish it off here in the pan because sort of like that first batch has kind of gotten cold now, and I didn't really have anything to sort of keep it warm, I guess. So I'll probably splash a little bit of water in here and just let that steam a little bit so that it's still juicy. But what I'll do, let's take the spatula out of the way. Um, and I'm trying to remember if I left my knife out there. Uh, I did manage to find my other knife, so we don't really need this one. We also have the lime. So we don't need a lot of onion here. I mean, we're only going to use like a quarter of this even. Let's clean that up a little bit. And let's try to do this pretty finely. So that's a pretty fine dice. Um, that'll be good for the garnish. So let's put that off to the side here. We'll use that later. And then let's get the cilantro. So again, this is going to be Kyle D's favorite part here. He said he didn't like cilantro. So if you're still watching, Kyle, just look away now. Try to get out the stems as you can. Again, the stems can still be used. I mean, like the stems you can put into like a stock or like a broth. But, traditionally, you don't necessarily have them with the actual leaf itself. And this is the point where OC says Logan has been chopping cilantro for 45 minutes now. OC wants everything done fast, quick, convenient. I'm not about quick and convenient, OC. I mean, I like to put my time into this. Again, it's actually tomorrow right now. I think we're having tomorrow's dinner, right? It's pretty well and chopped here. I think let's push that off to the side. And let's go ahead and chop up our meat. Again, a little bit unsanitary here, but it's all right. So these do have a nice sort of smoke ring here. Let me wash my hands. Let's chop this up a little bit. Let's get this into more manageable pieces. Again, Diego wanted this, very thin, very, and whatnot. I totally get that. Like when you're doing this the more traditional way, where like you actually have like a vertical cooker, then yeah. I mean, like that stuff is packed on there really tightly. Um, and like the idea is you just stop it for like 2 seconds, and then you just will shave off what you need, and then you go right back to cooking it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna get this cut down to, again, just more bite-sized pieces. Anything that's like too charred like that, you just not use that if you don't want to. Um, but this is almost to where I want it. Again, I mean, I'm not trying like to mince this, like it's not going to be, cat food, but I just want to get this down to a bit more of a manageable size. like the really fatty pieces, you can take that out if you're not a big sort of fat guy. Not a not a not an actual fat guy, but if you're a guy that doesn't enjoy, too much fat or too, really fatty pieces, you can take that out too. Okay, I think we have what we need here. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spritz this with a little bit of water. Um, I'm going to get any charred parts here out. Okay. And let's cook this up. I'll bring you back, guys, back closer here. Let's, a bit more water. Turn the heat back on for a minute. While this is cooking, we can actually also do a bit of a line here. So again, sort of, if you remember earlier when we had a Diego on, I was telling you guys it's good to kind of roll your lime out like this. Again, I'm not sure if that's on camera, but it's good to roll the lime a little bit before you actually slice into it. Um, let me wipe this off a bit real quick. All right, let's kind of move this around a bit. Again, I know I should be using like more just like a rubber tipped here, but whatever. Anyway, you should roll out your lime. I think this more sort of evenly distributes like the juices inside and whatnot. But so Diego also said to kind of just test the lime just to make sure. Uh, I mean, this lime is good, but I don't think it's as potent as it could be. Um, but these are the only limes I have, so that's what I'm going with, right? Um, so again, I'm just trying like to reheat these, just kind of get them sort of heated up again because again, some of these were laying out there for like a while we were doing the tortillas. Um, so these are just about ready. Let me actually taste. Oh wow, that's really flavorful. They're really good. Um, I'll let that cook just for a little bit more. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to prepare um, one tortilla for you guys, and then we'll probably wrap this up here. I know it's already been quite some time here. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and put that down. This is the moment that we've all been waiting for, guys. So hope you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get some of this pork. I'm going to take this off the eye. Let's do the finishing touches. Bit of onion, bit of cilantro, lime to give that sort of citrusy brightness. And that, my friends, is the finished product. So let's try it. Again, homemade tortillas, homemade pretty much everything. Oh, wow. You know, the tortilla really makes a difference here. I thought that it was going to be the meat. Um, but again, so like the meat sort of stands on its own. So it's like sort of great by itself. But the homemade tortilla, that is a big difference. But just in terms of what you would sort of normally buy from like a grocery store. Sorry, I'm kind of eating with like mouth open. Sorry for talking with my mouth open, not eating with my mouth open. Um, but again, I think the tortilla was like the big sort of game changer here. That makes it just taste so much more sort of authentic and just sort of way better than sort of anything that you're going to buy at the store. So again, um, guys, I know this has been a long one. This might be my longest grill stream today. So if you stuck around with me till the end, give yourself a big pat on the back. Like I know that like not every moment is filled with action and like excitement and whatever, but if you stuck it out through the end, again, thank you for the support. Again, if you're still here, please give a like, sort of leave a comment and subscribe. Um, but again, hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys in another grill stream in the near future. Thank you for your time, guys. Appreciate the support. All right.